defunding to police to now the police are great, and and there's even some individuals arguing that Ashley Babbitt deserved it.
That's the left. Those people are sick.
Yes, and when you're making arguments like that after having months of protest against the police, and now you're supporting the police, you really have to start asking yourself what's going on here. And these flip-flops happen not just within the left, they happen within the right in some instances. But right now we are seeing this kind of shifting of basic kind of virtues overnight because of political power, because of wanting your side to win, because of gang affiliation, which is more important than the truth to many people.
Let me say something. George Floyd should not have died. Breonna Taylor should not have died. Ashley Babbitt should not have died. It is a tragedy when any person loses their life. You know, I was saying it earlier. I don't care if you committed a crime. You know, I don't want you to die. I understand there are circumstances where someone could be violent and dangerous, and only in the process of trying to preserve life do we end someone else's life. It's self-defense. That's why we allow that as a defense in court or as a reason not to prosecute somebody. But to see Antifa say that a person who was shot, an unarmed person shot by a cop, deserved it. Wow. Talk about the utmost hypocrisy. Now listen, when I saw those conservatives throwing the Blue Lives Matter on the ground and then stomping on it, that to me looked more like anger and kind of a realization as to what they were experiencing. And it was for a lot of the conservatives who are, you know, being basically shut down by these cops, they've never had this happen before because conservatives don't protest for the most part. So to them, it was kind of like this new experience where they were like, dude, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous what they're doing. So they stomped on that flag. That's not hypocrisy. That's a change of opinion. To an extent, I can respect Antifa changing their opinion if their opinion was consistent. They're saying an unarmed woman who was shot by a cop deserved it. Okay. All right. So
but the guy with the taser shooting at cops, that's, you know, shouldn't have happened.
They're saying that the fascist U.S. government killing an unarmed woman is justified.
Yep.
Antifa defending what they claim to be fascist.
Well,
I love it.
We're going into a very scary time where policies no longer matter and only power matters. And when you go towards this particular instant of where we're at right now, we're going to see people leveraging that power and trying to use that power to try to hurt their political opposition. And I think that's where we are right now, with people trying to take advantage and escalating threats and fear-mongering about them to really rattle their base to support this kind of emergency takeover of civil liberties, because that's historically what always happens.
You know, regarding Ashley Babbitt, I don't support... I'm not glad she's dead, but she was climbing through a window into a sensitive area of the Capitol building with a few armed guards that were terrified for their lives and probably charged to protect things and people in there.
Did you see the video footage?
She had a backpack on, so she could have had a bomb in that, and that's probably what went through their mind when they saw her.
I think they had.
What are you gonna? You're supposed to defend the Capitol.
He couldn't see her. No, it's right.
She stuck her head up.
There was police officers behind her.
I know.
There's cops, but listen, I'll say this: I don't think that officer should be criminally charged. It's his job to defend the Capitol. Yeah. He's got politicians inside, and people were breaking the glass and trying to break in, and she pops up and he fired. We can have a discussion about administrative procedure due to the fact that he fired on a person. Maybe he fired too soon. Maybe he should have waited. Maybe it was the right thing. We can have the discussion. Okay. No criminal charges, in my opinion, because you break your way into the Capitol. She may have been part of the group that they opened the door for. We have no idea. Maybe she was part of the group that shoved their way in. But you have an unarmed person and a bunch of bewildered and doting people who, many of whom didn't know what was going on, like that old grandma lady waving the little flag. Come on, she clearly had no idea what was happening. And so for this woman to get shot, it's tragic. I wish it didn't happen. I don't blame the cop.
We saw criminal charges for less for officers before, which is also important to bring up. And I mean, there should be an entire investigation into what happened, and there should be a jury deciding what should happen from here. But I don't think you're right, Ian. That's just my opinion.
I mean, remember again, this is so different because it's on a federal level.
Yeah.
These people are not elected. The attorney general is not elected, unlike, say, Keith Ellison in Minnesota. Huh. He was elected. The woman from St. Louis with the McCluskeys, right? Yeah. Elected. And again, George Soros stuff. So that's it's an entirely different scenario, and in a way it's scarier on the state level, because at least on the federal level there's well, there should be less bias, but it depends on who you pick.
It's why this private police conversation is freaking me out. We have a lot of people in here that are like ANCAP to the extreme, where it's like no public service. We want private police only. Like a private policeman can shoot you dead.
It depends. I mean, if you make the argument for Detroit implemented private police and they had positive results because of that, and you really get into a big argument here that is kind of taken away from the kind of conversation because there's still just so many other things that we could delve into. But I understand both sides of the argument here.
We do have some breaking news, though. Trump has declared a state of emergency in D.C. ahead of Biden's inauguration. It's quite a simple story. It's really just Donald Trump approved it. They said they want to declare a state of emergency in D.C. There's threats against the inauguration. Trump says yes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 9 days or so. They're saying armed protests at capitals, armed protests in D.C., who knows what.
Is this Trump's first statement since that incident?
No.
He released that Twitter statement. But other than that, people are waiting, and I've been
there's been some weird stuff going on. I hear people like there's too many conspiracy theories. I hear Trump's going to give a presentation, and then he cancels it, and then the State Department thing pops up. Do you guys see this?
No.
Yeah.
Where the State Department claimed that Trump's term had ended today or whatever, or was going to end today, and Mike Pence's as well.
Yeah.
And now they're saying it's like a rogue employee. I guess we had this one planned for later, but we'll jump straight to this one. Check this out from BuzzFeed. A disgruntled employee changed the State Department's website to say that Trump's term ends today, sources say. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is launching an investigation after biographical pages for the president and vice president were changed Monday. I don't buy the story. Everybody started sharing the state.gov biography of Trump, that it said Donald Trump's term ended and then the current date plus like a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It seemed like some kind of basic script to just say, Donald Trump's term ended and then display time. You know what I mean? So that no matter what happened, every time someone went to it, it would show them the current time based on like UTC time zone or something. That's what it seemed like. So I don't know exactly what happened, but they're saying it was a rogue employee. Perhaps. BuzzFeed says a disgruntled employee at the State Department changed the biographies of President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence to say their term was coming to an end on Monday, 9 days before the President-elect Joe Biden is to be sworn in. Two current serving diplomats with knowledge of the situation told BuzzFeed News. The changes of the State Department's website come days after Trump incited a deadly insurrection. Okay, we get it, BuzzFeed. The president's biography was changed to read, Donald J. Trump's term ended on 2021, 01/11, 1949. The vice president said 1944-22. The timestamp on Trump's page changed multiple times before both pages were removed around 3:50 p.m. and replaced with a 4:04 reading. We're sorry, this site is currently experiencing technical difficulties. Please try again in a few moments. One of the diplomats said that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has ordered an internal investigation into the matter, beginning with interns and employees leaving the State Department this week and next ahead of the transition to the Biden administration. So this is what it looked like. Right here it says Donald J. Trump's term ended and the date, and then you can see for Pence it was very, very similar. You know my response is when I saw this? Right to jail. Believe it or not, straight to jail. Whoever did this needs to get locked up. No joke. Charges. Because we're at a time we're extremely vulnerable. Okay, this country is going through serious turmoil. Nancy Pelosi, I'm not here to play games. I know that what I'm about to say is a strong statement, but Nancy Pelosi, according to the Joint Chiefs of Pentagon officials, asked them to stage a military coup. And we can argue she didn't know what she was asking for, and that's fine, but it needs to be said. Pelosi went to the Pentagon, to the Joint Chiefs, and said, do not obey lawful orders from Trump in certain circumstances.
Incompetence is not a defense. If she didn't know what she was doing, she was still doing it.
And the argument I give is
she's been in Congress for 50,000 years. I mean, of course she would know.
She was in like dinosaur Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she went to the Pentagon and said, if Trump gives you orders to like start a war or fire nukes or whatever, disobey them. And they said that would amount to a military coup. They cannot remove the president from the chain of command. He is the commander in chief. Why isn't that being said more of? So anyway, look, the point is, considering this state we're in, with these kind of things happening, now would be the worst possible time for hackers to break in, to mess with our country, to start a war, or to come at us, and then some dumb intern or whatever is like, duh, I'm going to make a joke about Trump resigning. And now you get people panicking. What if people, like, you've got people on edge. We just had people storm the U.S. Capitol. This is not the time for jokes. So that's why I don't know if I believe it, because a lot of people were worried this was a hack, some kind of hack that went in and they added this or whatever. But either way, could you imagine what would happen if people around the country saw that message? We no longer have a president, no statement, no knowledge. I remember when Twitter got hacked, the Associated Press got hacked by the Syrian Electronic Army to put out a tweet from the AP saying that Obama has been injured, and we lost like $4 billion in stock value as soon as it happened. And then as soon as they corrected it, it shot back up, but only a 90% recovery. These kinds of things aren't jokes. Whoever did this should get the book and the bookshelf thrown at them. No joke.
But they were probably an Obama holdover, and in how many more days is Joe Biden? They're probably going to get
Yep.
the Medal of Freedom.
Yeah,
I mean
wouldn't be
that's
surprised.
I agree. I mean they should be. I don't think they should go to jail. I think they should just
should go
be
to jail.
fired.
No.
They should just be.
You don't look.
I don't. But I don't know what happened. Like, did anybody go into like the Wayback Machine
Yes.
and see what this thing looks like? Because was that time
was-
timestamp there, and all they did was just add some HTML
it-
saying that his term is over
No.
like right now.
So, at a certain point in the archives, there's nothing. It wasn't there.
Okay.
Someone placed it there. It seems like around the end of December to have like the current date or something. Or
Okay.
for whatever reason, we don't know why the date was changing. But there are versions from December. Whoever did this, in my opinion, was broke into these systems. No one was granted authorization to claim Trump was removed from office or resigned. That's serious. That's not shutting down his Twitter account. That's telling everyone in this country the president's gone.
Well, it's only telling people that are going to that website. I think they should be.
State.gov.
Do I think they should be punished? Yes.
This is-
What's the
The State
what's the
Department.
crime?
The State Department website.
Yeah, but what's the crime?
Well, the actual statutory crime is the violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, unauthorized access to a computer server, for which I think the minimum is like 25 years. Considering it was the State Department, that's serious. I'm not okay with these people playing games right now, man. We have 5 people die.
Right.
Okay, we've got people freaking out in this country. We've got dramatic escalation in every political arena. Censorship is going through the roof. Calls for the expulsion of Republicans. For some dumb employee to be like, I'm gonna make a joke.
But here's
Nah,
but
uh-uh.
my point is, does anybody believe it? No.
Believe that it was a rogue employee.
No. Does anybody believe that? Oh my God! I just saw this timestamp, and oh, that means the president.
Yes.
No-
Yes.
No, but
Look at the-
nobody's believing because
No,
Trump is still
come
in
on.
office. So,
No.
so
Where's Trump been? He's not given a public statement. And you know what I was hearing? Because look, listen, I follow as much as I can from all of these different tribes. I follow the mainstream media leftists and the Democrats and Republicans, and I listen to what the lefty, conspiracy people and the right wing are. There are left-wing people. I saw posting on Facebook saying Trump was supposed to give a speech, and then this website pops up announcing he's resigned, and now his speech was canceled. They believed it. They did. Look, man, regular people imagine that little old lady in the Capitol. You saw that picture of the granny waving the little flag? That lady has no idea what's going on. I'm not trying to be mean, but come on. She was confused and bewildered.
like
and
Joe Biden.
And she sees on the website Trump is no longer president. She's going to believe that. And look, it's not even about whether or not people believe it for the most part. It's about the fact that somebody, because they were an angry Trump derangement syndrome moron, broke into a system exposing a vulnerability in our State Department. Like, dude, we're on edge so much. We can't do this, man.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm trying to be objective here. This person should be punished. Yes. Do I think that the people that had nothing to do with the murder be charged with felony murder? No. So I'm trying to
I hear you, I hear you.
I'm trying to
Look, I'm not
to
saying
lower the temperature.
I agree.
you
I'm not
know.
saying give them 25 years, but I'm saying they should be given some kind of charge. It's got to be, you can't go into government systems and do this.
And that's fine. I don't think that they should go to jail for 25 years though. That's just kind of ridiculous.
No, right. I
And
agree. They definitely
Joe
don't.
Biden will pardon him anyway.
Could you imagine Joe Biden being like, this patriot who tried to remove Donald
Uh-huh.
Trump to build back better, we're going to pardon him. First thing.
I
don't
think
know,
he should be
man.
arrested. I don't know who it is. If it was one person, I mean, you need to pull some out. And be, this is the guy that did it, and we don't know if that's right either. So
I'm going to say that this person who did it probably put it out there to say,
Right.
to like,
Hey,
hey,
check
look,
it out."
there's this
All right, can we
thing.
start going?
Look at
Sorry about
this.
that, guys.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
if I saw a tweet. I think it was from Redhead Libertarian. I'm not entirely sure, so if I'm miscrediting you, but it was like that point when you realize
This is
our
right,
systems
right?
are cobbled together with sticks and stones.
That was me.
Oh,
I
that was
tweeted
you.
That,
That was
Yeah.
you who tweeted
I
that.
said that our
Oh.
systems are pretty much held
Just
together with
simplify it for
toothpicks
me.
and cobwebs.
Oh, this
There
is
you
the
go.
right way?
Also
Right
with
way? Yeah,
cotton
yeah.
candy, 'cause it's nothing.
Yeah.
One person
that
can
better?
do this. It's insanity.
I didn't
If-
know you were the redhead libertarian.
Apparently, I am.
But
Yeah.
but think about what they've exposed with this stupid joke that some dumb rogue employee at the State Department could break the whole thing. Think about what that means.
I wonder what else up there is fake right now.
Exactly.
But it's
Yeah.
everything. I mean, look at all these holdovers from the previous 8 years. All the leaks. Where do you think those leaks came from?
Trump
Not Republicans.
You know what was funny? I think I'm going to miscredit whoever said this, so I'm not gonna credit anybody.
It was me.
They
Just
said
nailed it.
the one thing Trump was famous for he didn't do: fire people.
Yeah.
I would be good at that.
He should have just fired people, and he didn't do it.
Fire
No,
everyone.
he did.
Yeah,
You know,
we're gonna need those.
he fired.
Help?
He didn't fire.
Hello?
Right people.
He hired and fired a lot
Well,
of
he
people.
okay. That's
Good
true.
job down there,
Yeah,
sir.
but you can't. It's very hard to fire government employees. We know this, right?
Trump made it
So
easier.
it's one thing to hire and fire Jim Mattis. It's another thing to fire some low level. Look at what Andrew Struck. I mean,
Peter Strzok?
Peter Strzok. Sorry, Andrew Struck.
Andrew McCabe.
You?
Yeah, Andrew McCabe. Yes, thank you. I had a long train ride, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But even it was hard to get rid of them too. I mean, there was pushback there.
Right, of course.
So and actually did something.
Man.
Which I'm not saying that this State Department guy didn't do something.
I
either.
just think this person's anti-Trump. So,
Sure.
going
like
off.
half the government.
Right. You go off of the previous discussion we had. We're talking about arresting people for murder, or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if the prosecutors are like, we're gonna bury them in books. Like it's gonna be an example tenfold. And then with this, they're like, well, it was just a harmless
It was
joke.
a prank, bro.
And we all hate Trump, right? Because the orange man.
Hell
is
yeah.
bad, so.
Sure.
Starting trade with me for
Yeah,
these
I don't
VOEs?
see.
Yeah.
I don't. Can we go back to the inauguration
using
for a
that.
second? I think Secret Service probably has everything covered as far as safety, and these things happen once every 4 years like clockwork. So I think they kind of have everything that they need to do. And
I hope so.
but honestly, I do not understand why this inauguration is even taking place. I mean, fine, yes, the ceremony of him being sworn in, that has to happen, but having 1,600 people in stands in front of the Capitol, isn't that a super spreader
But
event?
they're
I thought
gonna
that
be,
Joe
there's
Biden
gonna
didn't
be
like that stuff.
plexiglass between all of them. And they're going to stand
Yeah,
6
give me a
feet away
break.
from them.
Well,
aren't
no.
they?
So
Nuts.
so what I heard is that.
He's going to put his hand
in
on
order-
the sanitizer instead of the Bible.
Well, no. This is serious. That in order to do it, what's going to happen is once you arrive for the inauguration, if you're one of the attendees, you wait in line. They have you 6 feet apart, and then they have these 8 foot by 3 by 3 by 8 cubes, or not cubes, but big chambers. They lock you in made of plexiglass, and they padlock it, and they put you on a forklift and just carry you in and put you down. You can't leave. You're trapped inside, and you're banging, and it's airtight, and there's no sound. But then Joe Biden's safe, so.
Great.
You get this look. You're like,
Yeah,
stop.
No, it's like you got
Everyone's going to die because
you
they have
had
no
me
air.
halfway. No, look, I
Suffocate.
think it's so hypocritical for him to be holding this thing, and there's also going to be onlookers too.
It's
and,
a celebration, just
and-
like his win on election night.
Look,
you know?
the
Let them
guy's
celebrate.
been
Yeah.
wanting to be president since the 80s. So this is his moment, right? Nothing is, not even COVID is going to stop this dude's moment. And you know what? And I
But
and
he's
I
not
get-
going to remember it.
And
though.
you know what? And you know what we're going to hear in the evening? I guarantee it. Biden's inauguration was bigger than Trump's inauguration crowd.
course.
Well,
That's-
no. I'm sorry. What they're going to do is they're going to say that based on online numbers, they're going to make the streaming for this makes it the biggest inauguration in history, even though when Trump was getting inaugurated, they discounted the live stream views and said that it was smaller than Obama's.
Right.
And then Trump was like, but look at the live stream, The
Well,
ratings were huge.
Well, the way that look, I've been a big critic of Sean Spicer, and the way he came out and presented it was just the dumbest way possible. Just set the tone for the entire 4 years by coming out. First thing you do is like yell at all the
Hold on,
reporters.
I want to sing a line from Alanis Morissette's "Ironic" about the old man but I don't want to say it because it has to do with the president. But I think you understand the joke. You know, an old man turned 88. He won the presidency.
Oh yeah, that's
You know,
too bad.
but I'll leave it at that. For those that are familiar with the song, I guess just
Yeah, I'm really curious how they're going to be doing the inauguration because, again, we see Joe Biden as the kind of plexiglass, social distancing, always wear a mask, 100 days of masks are coming presidency. How are they going to do it with everyone standing together behind him? How are they
They're
going to do
not.
it with that crowd?
I think
I mean,
if they do it, he's a gigantic hypocrite,
Of-
and he needs
well-
to be called out
oh,
on it.
come on.
But they will not be called out on it, and that's what
Yeah.
kills me. This double standard.
Well,
You know-
one
yeah.
thing already.
Ah.
One thing already. They have a crap ton of National Guard. They have a crap ton of
10,000.
troops coming together, mingling together, and again, this is also something that has affected